I'm 23F, and this happened about 8 months after I finally left my ex, 25M. We dated for almost 3 years, which is still embarrassing to admit, because everyone in my life hated him long before I did. He was never the kind of scary that makes for a dramatic story at first. He was the quiet kind. The kind that remembered weird little details I never told him on purpose. The kind that always knew where I was, even when I stopped sharing my location. The kind that could say something cruel in such a calm voice that it made me feel crazy for reacting. When I broke up with him, he took it better than I expected. Too well, honestly. No begging, no yelling, no long texts. He just looked at me and said, "You'll miss how safe I made you feel." That line stuck with me because it was such a weird thing to say. After that, he still found reasons to contact me. A hoodie I forgot. A charger that was probably mine. A screenshot of an old picture of us with no caption. I blocked him on everything. He started emailing. I blocked those too. For a while, it stopped. Then small things started happening. The first thing was my doormat. I live alone in a second-floor apartment, and one morning the mat outside my door was flipped upside down. I noticed because the rubber side was facing up. I remember standing there in my work shoes staring at it, thinking maybe maintenance had moved it while cleaning. But it still bothered me because I'm weirdly neat, and I always straighten it before I go inside. A few days later, the framed photo on my kitchen counter was turned face down. I live alone. Nobody had been over. I told myself I probably knocked it over half asleep. That made more sense than anything else. Then my bedroom window was unlocked. I never open that window because it sticks, and I'm paranoid about locking everything. I checked the whole apartment twice that night. Closet, shower curtain, under the bed. I even laughed at myself afterward because I felt ridiculous. That same night, around 1:30 a.m., I got a call from a no-caller ID number. I answered because my mom sometimes does that from work. All I heard was breathing. Not loud, not dramatic. Just someone quietly breathing, like they were listening. I hung up. They called again. I didn't answer. They called a third time. Then I got a text from an email address I didn't recognize. "You still leave the bathroom light on when you're anxious." I went cold all over, because I did. And my blinds were closed. I called my best friend, Mara, and made her stay on FaceTime with me while I checked the apartment again. Nothing. No one. Doors locked. Chain on. Windows shut. I barely slept. The next morning, I told myself it had to be him. Nobody else would know little things like that. I took screenshots, sent them to my landlord, and filed a police report. They were polite, but it was basically a shrug. No direct threat, no proof he'd been there, not much they could do. For about 2 weeks, nothing happened. I started calming down. I even felt stupid for how scared I'd gotten. Then I came home from work and found my bedroom closet door open. I know that sounds small, but I never leave it open. Ever. One of those stupid habits. Door closed, hangers all facing the same way, shoes lined up. It was open maybe 6 inches, just enough to look wrong. I stood in the hallway staring at it with my keys still in my hand. I don't know why I didn't just leave. Pride, maybe. Or denial. I walked over and pulled it open fast. Nothing inside except my clothes. I laughed, but it came out shaky. Then I noticed one of my sweaters on the floor. Not just on the floor. Folded. My ex used to fold my clothes when he was irritated with me. He'd smile while he did it too, like he was proving something about how messy I was and how patient he was for putting up with it. That was the first time I really believed he'd been inside my apartment. I packed a bag and stayed with Mara for 4 nights. My landlord changed the locks, and I bought one of those cheap cameras for the front door and another for my living room. I felt better after that. Safer. The camera alerts started 3 nights later, 11:47 p.m. Motion detected. I opened the app expecting a bug or headlights through the blinds. Instead, I saw my hallway light was on. I had turned it off before bed. The living room camera showed only part of the hallway, but I could see the edge of a shadow moving across the wall. Slow. Human. I couldn't breathe for a second. I was not home. I was at Mara's apartment across town. I called 911 so fast I nearly dropped my phone. While I was on with dispatch, I kept watching the feed.